love pressing the issue in video games. Like, I could be 8 kills behind. I'm going for it. I'm getting moving. You know what I mean? Like, in Valorant, if I have no money, all rifles. We're getting ourselves back in this game.
My man forces every round.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
Like, guys, we're down 7-1.
We gotta do something.
Our economy is broken.
We
can only afford grenades.
They're up by like 4 kills. Everyone on the team is saying, dude, just farm. I'm like, no. No shot.
Did you know that 1 kill is worth 20 minions, roughly?
Yeah, why would I waste time killing 20 minions when I can kill 1 man? It's simple mathematics.
Like we're never doing.
Tyler's just getting triggered.
Yeah.
What the hell? Oh, man.
I know.
After?
I know one speed, and it's go.
And it's one direction, forward, baby.
Yeah, dude.
Hong Kong.
Mike is Inting Scion personified. There you go.
In
Honestly,
the ADC and support position.
Hell yeah, I love playing weird stuff support. Like I had a friend.
That's another solo queue truism, is you could throw almost anything in the support role.
Yeah,
if you're good enough.
One of my friends is still scarred to this day by the Skarner support that I busted out one day. And
when did you do this?
oh man,
How recent?
2020, like summer
Oh
2020.
my God.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
we lost for what it's worth.
but man, if we had won,
You know what it is? It's a double-edged sword with that kind of stuff. Because if you lose, you're a clown, and if you win, it was all luck.
it's like, come on, dude.
I'm an innovator,
You know what? Yes.
Absolute innovator.
Yes. I've never seen the light of day again, though. 1 game of Skarner. 0-8. Never
yeah.
seen again.
We might have been worse, dude.
Oh my God.
What's up, everyone? Critical Strike Podcast is back after a brief hiatus. Both seasons, the only 2 that matter, of course. The Western ones, LEC and LCS, off and running.
Hey, yo.
While coincidentally, the 2 Eastern regions were on Lunar New Year, and then I told myself, oh, that's going to be a great time to like get caught up on some VODs, hit up some storylines, see how, has Uzi played yet? And then none of that happened. Instead, we watched. Instead, we here in North America took a sabbatical. Took a religious retreat to the top of Mount. Dang it! I didn't think this far ahead into this bad metaphor. LS and Cloud9 made their debuts, and it was. Okay, here's the first question to Tyler and Mike.
Hey.
First of all, how we doing? Second of all, was it what you expected?
No.
The sermon?
The sermon.
The sermon that Mr. LS provided the congregation?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Because I feel like he should have at least, like, because like when you're in church, like, it's like, oh, grab the hymnal, and the hymnal's like right in front of you.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, grab the hymnal, and he's like, no, all we have here are like welcome pamphlets. Like, there was no hymnal back there.
Mm-hmm. No, books of worship in the pews. You just sat down and you were immediately treated to Ivor and mid.
Blood sacrifices.
I love it.
Immediately treated to Soraka mid. You're putting Fudge. We were talking about it earlier, but we were like, man, Fudge is going to be perfect for mid lane because he's got such great mechanics. He just needs to learn how to, work with his jungler a lot more because he's going to be roaming. This guy got put on Ivor and Soraka.
So funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, well, first off, thank you. I'm doing well, Second off, I think that I'm just really happy to see that LS is actually putting into practice the stuff that he's preaching. We saw so much and we heard so much about his philosophies on the game, and oh my gosh, these certain champions are so strong. Why aren't teams playing them? And then we're like, okay, you better put your money where your mouth is, and he did. Which is pretty hilarious. Like he was talking on was that Double Lift's new podcast, Trash Talk, where he said that he was talking to Faker, and he told Faker,
about the Soraka mid,
he told Faker, yo, Soraka's broken in mid, and Faker's like, I told you. And it's just like, I'm really just happy to see that, there's somebody who's willing to innovate and willing to take risks, especially with a roster like this where there's so many question marks. But yeah, we'll see if this kind of success is just because people aren't used to playing against these types of compositions, or it's because Cloud9 is just that good.
At first I was like, man, is LS getting too much credit? Like, could any coach have thought this up? And then I realized, well, no. I mean, no one else in the league did what Cloud9 did.
Maybe they could have thought it up, but I don't think it would have had the balls to do it on stage.
Oh, yeah, potentially. Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, man, this is on the players. If any coach could have drafted this. But then I was like, no one else did. So, yeah, I think this is a coach diff for now. I'm intrigued to see how Cloud9 plays the game, like, from a vanilla standpoint, because all we've seen is full cheese all the time. But granted, it's a small sample size, only 2 games. And I don't even know if it's fair to call it cheese, because, like,
it's not really cheese.
It's more so outside of the box. Like,
yeah.
I don't like calling it, like, Smite Janna top is cheese. Yeah. Like, that is, like, especially in solo queue. On the competitive stage, it's like, alright. But I mean, what Cloud9 did in terms of using 2 different enchanters in 2 relatively different team comps, I don't know, I think it's more innovative thinking than just, like, reliance on cheese. Because, like, cheese strats are well known, everyone's using them, and that wasn't the case here. What do you guys think about that? Like, is that, like, a fair argument to make, or am I just kind of mumbling?
No. I mean, I'll say my piece real quick and then let Tyler go. I think that, cheese is, like, if you don't, like, cheese is, like you said, everyone knows it, but then it's, like, can you actually, like, hold your metal and, like, okay, is it just cheese? Then prove it, right? And that FlyQuest CLG game was, like, I think a little different. I just don't think that was, like, I don't know, super, like, the most high quality. Like, I don't know. I'll give both teams credit where credit is due, right? Again, Kumo and Fly, like, no one expects anything from them, but I think that, I don't think you'd call it cheese. Like, because at the end of the day, right, like, you are sacrificing things, right? Like, you've got 2 guys on kind of low econ, like it's a ballsy strategy to pull off, and you need to have the players to pull it off. That's what I'll say is that require, like, you need to have players that can pull it off, a coach that's going to have the balls to do it, but also you need to have a coach that, and again, this is a very small sample size here, so, and I'd love to be able to say this at the end of week 8 or whatever, he got them to buy into the vision, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's fun now because you're winning, but when you start losing, right, when you start dropping games, when you just get, when Fudge is playing Soraka for the 10th time and he's just beating his head against the floor.
Yes.
Right? Can you keep that up? But for now, so far, so good.
Let's not be like remiss either in saying that they were 1 team fight away from losing that game to EG. They were really close, and if Berserker didn't show up, like, out of the mountains in the final seconds of that game, then they would have lost. But, like, I don't know. That was where my initial argument came from. Like, oh, is LS getting too much credit for a game that Berserker basically won? But I mean, every step that it took to get them to that final team fight was set in motion by that outside the box draft. So I think I'm intrigued to see if Cloud9 can continue to play at this pace. And they beat EG, which, like, EG coming into the season was probably second best team consensus across the board. So they've already proved they can hang with the big dogs to some certain extent. But I'm intrigued to see if they can continue to play at this level.
Yeah, like, going off of what Henrique said, I just think that it requires a crap ton of trust across the board. Trusting your coach trusting your skill as a player, and then the players themselves trusting in each other. Because if you are putting someone like Fudge on a pretty supportive role, obviously, he needs to, like, have the trust in these younger, newer players that, okay, I know we can win because I can trust your skill. I can trust Berserker in those clutch moments to be able to make the decisions necessary to win the game. And he did, right? My thought process is, once people find counters to this, how will LS adapt, right? How will the team adapt? Like you said, how will they perform if they're forced to go traditional? It's a small sample size. I think this weekend will be a good test, too, to see if they continue with this kind of trend of not wacky, but just, like, non-traditional style compositions that we've seen over the past year. And to see if teams are able to think of something to counteract that, to make these teams kind of second guess themselves.
How long until Fudge picks a top lane champ in the mid lane?
Honestly, next week. Seriously, no, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like they played Gwen jungle, and Summit is very good at League of Legends. Like it's again, you the way that this formula works is you get, as I adjust my microphone here just in the least clandestine way possible, you've got 5 players that are good enough to play, a bevy of style of champions, and I think that's where like culture and kind of like team focused, like, okay, win above everything else sort of stuff comes in, right? Because then you don't pigeonhole yourself into compositions. And I had another point that I was going to make. Oh yeah, like I think of TSM a little bit in that, teams have been very open about like, the team has been pretty transparent about like, look, this isn't designed to work right now. Like we got guys speaking, 2 different languages, right? And we've like kind of done our best with that, and we believe that, we want to develop these guys. I think it was, I don't know if it was on a podcast or separately, we've had conversations about my kind of, not even theory, but just an observation that even though the LCS hasn't necessarily, the LCS has lessened on imports, but the imports that the LCS is taking now are young guys. They're blowing those import spots on still developing young talent, which isn't something that could have been said a long time ago. And they believe there's the best way forward, but I think you play, again, I think there's an oversimplification, but I think you play cheese now while your team is getting used to itself. And over the weeks, you figure out kind of what you're good at. And if your cheese gets banned out, it's like, okay, well, one, you threw, X amount of bans at something that is only situationally good. So, all right, cool. Here's Thresh, Gwen, Renekton, right?
Mm-hmm. It'll be a cold day in hell when LS drafts Renekton.
Yeah, good point. You know what? You're right. Bad example. But yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of, you throw out, because other teams are getting used to themselves as well, right? It's one thing to like, execute a strategy as a new team, but it's another thing to have the cohesion to say, okay, actually, we've got to execute something now that we didn't plan for. Can we think on our feet as a unit? That's 10 times harder. And Cloud9 are putting the onus on themselves right now. And then the composition, mathematically, the scaling will take care of itself in the late game. So, yeah, hats off. Moving on. TSM Dig. These 2 teams kind of in the middle of the pack here. The quotes from Hooney that we wanted to read out, put in a rundown. As TSM, they've been open about the fact that, again, they're going to start slow probably. Hooney's saying, we see it as long-term. Going to Worlds, that is the biggest goal. Quote, I agree that for Spring Split, we just have to use the time. We need to use the time really efficiently, be able to speak English, be able to communicate, be able to play a team game. Those things are required. It's not an option. We just have to do it. He told that to Parks from Upcomer. Shout out Parks. In an interview recently. And so with that being said, in spring, I think it's just top 6 make it for spring and then 8 in summer. But given that, what do we think TSM ceiling for the spring split is? Could they figure it out in time? Because I will say, from Kaiduo's, from that clip that was doing the rounds, I don't know if y'all saw that, of Kaiduo on his stream. Like the vibes seem really, really good. Wait, do you guys know which one I'm talking about? Because this unironically might be worth like pausing and editing the podcast to get you guys to watch this, because it's.
Is it the one where he's like screaming, like he's like yelling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very fun.
You want to die?
Yeah.
Right, and then the Lee Sin shows up, right, and he flash cues him, and then he just flashes away. He's like, "No, what's up?" And like you could just hear people just hollering, laughing in the background, just doubled over. So the vibes seem to be good so far.
Vibes are important.
The record doesn't. Let's be real.
Hey, look, okay.
You're a pro player. Win some games. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but like.
I think you might be.
I think you're being a bit harsh.
Maybe, but like, a bit harsh, bro. There's expectations. You guys have fans. I don't know. Maybe like, yes, you're allowed to have fun, but also like, I don't know. 0-2 is not what I expected from this team to start out the season.
Really?
No,
I expected them to struggle.
I would have been shocked. I don't know. Like 1-1 would have been fine. I thought they actually played like pretty well in that EG game, and Kaiduo, he like did what he was supposed to. Like, EG are a very good team. He was, and Kaido was still like 4-0 or 4-1 on Victor, right? He was ready to one-tap kids, but by that point, the game had gotten a little out of control. But they were like cross-mapping and stuff. Like, I thought they played fine.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. They just lost, I guess, which sucks. This is actually the second year in a row that TSM has started out 0-2. Obviously a very different team, but I mean, if anyone's going to hit the alarm button, it's TSM fans. Like,
oh no, for sure.
For sure. I've seen, this team has been around for 10 years and the sky has been falling for all 10 of them. Like, so, I mean, yeah, I do think TSM should, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they, got off to a slow start. I was in the press conference with Tactical after Saturday's games and he said, yeah, we just didn't practice like before like this week. We had no time to practice before obviously Shenyi and Kaido got there, and then they didn't have those games on stage in the lock-in tournament, which I have to wonder, would it have been more beneficial to play at least some of the starters to get lock-in experience for the players that were there? Because, I mean, we saw Dignitas, right? They kind of implemented their roster in like a more staggered formation. Like
stages.
River got there eventually, and they kind of hit their stride and whatever. But, like, Dignitas is a team that is neck and neck, and you brought him up in the beginning of the segment, Henrique, and I think right now, if I had to base everything off of what I've seen thus far, Dignitas is much more likely to finish top 5 than TSM is, in my opinion.
After the first 2 games, sure. But by the end of spring, I would disagree.
I would say it continues.
So,
I'm more
for
confident.
Me, yeah, like, for me, it's more so like TSM, they're dealing with a lot of new factors. And the fact that they didn't practice much at all, and they were still able to kind of keep up with EG, shows to me that by the end of the spring, where would they be? I would say their ceiling, and it's probably going to bite me in the behind later, but I'm saying that they could sneak into the playoffs this season at most.
TSM,
I don't think that's an insane statement.
I know it's not. It's
TSM?
not, but I feel like that's when they start to play like gods and they end up top 3. But it's more so
Tyler,
like
you're talking about TSM to be clear, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like TSM, to me, there's still so much room for variance because, again, you have 2 players who have shown a lot of confidence in themselves, which is something that is very important when you're first starting your career, is confidence and willingness to make int plays. We've heard this from people who have talked about Jojo Pyun. One of the biggest reasons why they like Jojo Pyun is because he's not scared to make game-winning plays at the sacrifice of his KDA. And I think that these guys are not that scared either. They'll flash in, they'll immediately do plays at the drop of a hat. We saw that I think that was that game against EG where it was like a reaction play where Shenyi, as soon as he saw Vulcan flash forward, he flashed forward and immediately engaged. Just like, you know, he can die, but they're going to trade, and they did. And to me, that's a really good sign, is that they're willing to be aggressive even though they are a rookie. Because we've seen a lot of rookies come into the league that are a little bit timid. They don't want to make up too many mistakes because they don't want to lose their spot. But with these kind of players, it's like I can see the ceiling rising even higher. I don't know if they're going to be a challenger this season for the championship compared to more veteran lineups. Dig, honestly, they will go as far as River lets them. That is my. It's not a groundbreaking statement. River is the most important, clearly has been the most important, and will be the most important member of this team moving forward.
I'll wave the flag for Neo. I think he has a bit of a chance to carry Dig. He actually looks.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, Neo is sleeper good. I used to think he was
nasty.
He was like, oh, has a boring play style, but like honestly, he has really evolved over the course of last summer and what we've seen in 2022 thus far. I think honestly, yes, River will be the guy for Dig, obviously because he is like the go-to player. He's the biggest name there, coming from a top 4 international finisher at MSI last year in PSG.
True.
So like, yeah, he holds the bag for Dignitas, but I think Neo is not
One who spends it.
Sure, that's a good way to
There it is.
I'll give you the alley-oop on that one, sure. I'll gladly take the assist. All yours, pal.
'Cause I nearly fucking bricked it.
I think it's a good shout, though. And I think especially as, I don't know, I think of River like I think of, it's not a perfect comparison, but like Malrang is playing for Rogue, where he's playing champions how I wish I could play Amumu, and like how you have to like play ganking and supportive junglers, right? Because it's like, they just said, okay, it's not a carry jungle meta, so I'm going to just swing to the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And I'm just going to just hard enable all my laners. But it's like, that is a high risk, high reward playstyle because you're down hella farm. And if teams start to kind of like play smarter to that, then you might be in trouble. Now, I think River's a good enough jungler to where he'll adapt and the game itself could change a bunch. But that's where I think guys like Neo are going to be that much more important, because if you get, like any AD carry, if you can get a reliable ADC to the 20-25, the 25-30 minute mark, you always have a shot. You always have a shot.
That being said,
interesting little anecdote about River. Through 10 games in 2022, he's played 5 on Jarvan, 5 on everyone else, and he's undefeated on Jarvan and winless.
Jarvan's good, dude.
And winless on everybody else. And
wow.
The stats are like 2 different players too. So I mean, do you just swing a Jarvan the 4th ban in this guy's direction?
I think you do.
I mean, yeah,
100%.
you have to at this point.
You have to.
Because that's not even like a target ban, really. Like, Jarvan is a good meta champ. It's not like he's playing a Mumu.
For sure.
But this is a target ban for sure. Like
at this point, it's like, well, guys, show me something different. Like, you've
exactly
only found success on this one character. I don't know. I think, but granted, River is good enough of a player where he can find success with mostly any character in the jungle meta. Like, we watched him do it in the PCS all of last year.
Granted, PCS is...
Yes, the competition's a lot starker in North America.
Yeah.
Take that, PCS fans. But, yeah, I think River has enough sauce.
Why? Why?
Because I'm sick of people. I'm sick of people saying, "Man, we should take a berth away from North America and give it to the PCS." Man, the PCS looks so much better. No, it doesn't. No, it does not.
Talk your shit, Mike. Talk your shit.
No,
Hey, yo, you got the pedestal, bro.
It simply does not look better. The LCS is a top 4 region in the world for a reason.
Let's not kid ourselves. Come on.
Hey, I agree.
Top 4,
And they're not 1, 2, 3. But
I thought you were gonna.
for what it's worth.
And they ain't 2 to 4, baby.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
yeah.
There's definitely 3 better.
I want to
regions.
see River on another hard engage lane enabling champion, because I think he can play. That's his style, right? That's just the style that he does for now. But like, there are multiple champions that can fill that role. J4 is just very good at it. Like he
Like a Mumu.
Okay, that's one of them.
Yeah, that's fine. But
He played. Okay, I'm looking at the champion statistics. Shout out to Games of Legends, the goated site for champion statistics.
But not so goated for some other stuff, right, Mike?
All right, bro. Yeah, definitely not.
That wasn't even meant to be like a dig at you. That was sorry. That was a little out of pocket. That was more. It was just the example I could think of to.
That's so good.
To bang my Lolpedia truther drum. But continue. I'm sorry.
As soon as 2 players share a name, the whole world.
shout out to Sword.
Shout out to my boy,
Shout out Sword.
TSM legend, also Griffin
Roll swap legend.
Oh gosh, a diverse play. I'm done. Whatever.
All right.
Oh man, it was a very serious incident that I'm grateful I kept my job for.
Diana.
The smile
Diana.
from his face.
Diana River played 8 games on Diana last year, won 7 of them. When I think of engage junglers who can enable their laners, I think of Diana instantly. And we've even seen her this year. We watched El Yoya play her alongside Reeker and his Yasuo, and just like examples like that come to mind instantly.
Yeah. Such a disgusting combo, by the way.
Very fun to watch all the time. I love that.
Yeah.
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 Man, Sword, who he play for?
I actually don't know, and I was gonna look that up, but then
The answer is which one?
True. That is the answer.
Speaking of things that you love to see, yo, have you guys been keeping up with Champions Queue?
Dude, it's not called Champions Queue. It's called Niles Queue.
It's
called Niles Queue, baby.
Oh man, I saw
We're gonna put that in the episode description. Is that or just look up? It's probably on Niles' Twitter. Just at Niles. I'm glad that my guy just straight up quit professional League of Legends, still gets an invite to Champions Queue, and then does that.
Hell yeah.
On day one.
Awesome.
Oh,
my boy.
I respect that a lot.
Dude, Maryville posted a picture of him in like their college esports room, and they're like, "Look who's back in the lab," and it's Niles playing Champions Queue, and I'm like, absolutely, that is the king of esports right there.
I'm really happy that Champions Queue is like kind of popping off. Like, although I don't know how long this kind of hype will last for this thing, because what is the only incentive? It's money, right?
And I mean, I guess the better practice, lower ping and stuff, and like incentive to move to LA and all that.
But like, I'm really glad that there are players, and I checked out because what's cool about it is that they actually have a whole site for it. They have a whole Champions Queue site where they have like match history, and LP like tracking and things like that, and so you can see the players that are taking. There's Han Sama. You see like all these top players, right? Core JJ's in it, and Jojo Pyun and Inspire has a couple games, I think. And what's also really cool is that I don't know if he's just trying it out because it's only been out for like what 2.5 days now.
Yeah, not even.
Licorice, right? Licorice has always been the type of player. He's said this multiple times where he just doesn't believe in solo queue. He would rather just do one-on-one practice.
I remember that
against someone. Yeah. He's played a lot. He is the LP leader, I think, right now, on Champions Queue.
There's also a Twitter account that I'm going to try to find.
It's run by Winters Ward, the guy that's a mod for multiple big players.
It's at Champions Queue, and they the Twitter account is they literally just tweet out like an Excel spreadsheet of like, hey, here's what's on, like here's who's streaming it on their Twitch channels. Here are like the teams, and it's sick.
That's so cool.
I think it's so sick. Yeah.
So right now you have in the lead Kumo at 115 LP, then you have Licorice at 100, bro. And then Insanity at 85, Johnson, Lorlo, IMT Chad.
Chad Jungle,
what a
baby.
Great name.
Put some respect on Chad Jungle.
Yep. And then Jojo Pyun, Tenacity's there. Who else is there? Kenvi, Blaze Olive. Luger has also been playing some games. Immortals Arrow.
My boy Jensen is on the
Jensen,
leaderboard.
yes.
Hell yes.
Hey.
Jensen is also playing.
That should be is that what it takes? LCS teams? So what he has to do for you? Get to rank 1 on Champions Queue. Just you got to make sure this guy's good. Is that what it's? Come on.
Hey man, as long as he's outplaying the Champions Queue mid laners, then you know.
You know what though? With Jensen, it's not like obviously you want to see him play because like he's a lovable guy and he's fun to watch and he's a mainstay. That being said, the mid lane talent in the LCS does not make me like particularly feel the void. It's not like in the LEC where I'm like, all right, why is this one particular support playing? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be somebody else.
Y'all know who we're talking about. We don't need to say anything. It's the implication.
How is Advienne unemployed? You know what I mean?
Yep. But, and so it still has a team.
You know what I'm talking about.
You know who we're.
But I'm not particularly offended by any LCS player in the mid lane where I'm like, man, Jensen should have this guy's job. Not yet, at least, but like for now.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between saying he's better than them, then he should have his job.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, because there are other guys that you're like even Kaido. You're like, okay, I would rather see Kaido be the mid laner for TSM than Jensen. Because it's more interesting. It's like, look, TSM, they have stuff like, the Bjergsen formula, and like you said, like they have the worst thing about this strategy for TSM is that they have a fickle fan base. Other than that, I love this. I love the idea of it. Even if it crashes and burns, as long as like, I don't know, the players don't come out afterwards and say like, yeah, it was just a miserable experience all around. Like, Spica didn't actually take his Mandarin lessons. He was lying, like, and like any of that, like barring that, I like the idea.
It's so different for TSM. It's such a weird like move for an organization.
Throughout the playbook.
Yeah, literally. Like, I love it. After especially the 2021 season where, yes, they did come one game away from making Worlds, but also like the roster they put out there was not, it felt like just like an overcompensation.
Mm.
All right, to the LEC we go.
Okay.
Let's start out
Let's
with this
see.
then.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has been fun. Do you want to do so far team of the round robin first, or just kind of
We can do
general
team of the
thoughts
round
on the league? All right.
We can do team round first.
All right. So through the first quarter, and this might be populated with Rogue players because that's an easy and honestly fair thing to do.
Yeah, when you don't lose, I mean.
Yeah, when you're undefeated,
Mm.
when your whole team looks like an all-star team, then yeah.
Yeah. Perks
Let's go
was
through
on Euphoria this week, and he said something interesting. He said right now, I think that Rogue are the only actually good team in Europe. Everyone
Ooh.
else is just decent.
Mm.
But he did say he's like everyone else that I think is decent, and he lumped like Vitality Fnatic G2 kind of in that tier. He said everyone else is decent. He said they're just not a team yet.
Mhm.
And I think that's an interesting statement.
Yeah, no,
but he said like right now, like Rogue's just flying, and like that's okay.
I'm surprised that Rogue. Well, not really.
I'm surprised they're
potential
9-0.
Really?
I am like yes, you keep 3 out of 5 players, but like you took away the MVP and one of the most solid 80 carries in the league, and you replaced it with like Comp, who's a bit of a reclamation project.
Yes.
And then like
Malrang was kind of
Malrang he was a backup.
Yeah.
Right. Like guy, how good is his English? Like like those were 2 big swings.
They were
not
really, really
if
big.
If you would have told me Rogue was 9-0 and then it was 6-3 to 5-4, I wouldn't have believed you.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said you're an insane person.
I remember when we were looking at the season before it started, we were like, man, Rogue has a lot of heavy lifting to do because they lost the most important player on their team.
Yeah.
And arguably the best ADC in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And they've looked like they
just
haven't
decided to level up.
Yeah, no.
Looks
This
a lot
whole
better.
team
Like,
is just
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
If the season ended today, Comp is MVP.
Really?
Yeah. His numbers are that good. Like
If his numbers are insane.
If we break down, I know that the age-old sports debate of like, whoa, is MVP about value? It's like, shut up. This guy has ridiculous numbers. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, if you just look at his, like, if you didn't know anything about League of Legends and you just looked at the stat table, you're like, oh, this guy's the best player in the league. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and he looks like one of the best players in the league too.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, I'm firmly in the camp of MVP is I do that really annoying, like it is about
me
value.
too. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I'm banging the if you don't like it, rename the award deal. But I get that.
Sure.
I get that it's like, well, it's not like I should like fine. But Tyler, do you have thoughts before we go into the team of the split so far? You were
I don't think Comp would be running away with the MVP for me.
Is he at least in the discussion?
He's in the discussion for sure. I just feel like he's
I think
it's
hard to give actual MVP to an ADC.
Yeah, like
from a straight
exactly.
value comparison. I think it's hard to give it to an ADC.
When you look at like jungle or mid in terms of their impact.
Yeah, exactly. I just think like, look, your ADC doesn't matter if the rest of your team isn't functioning. I just think like
that's fair.
Yeah. This is a newly birthed take. Like I just gave it to the nurse. They're dangling it upside down and doing reflex tests on it. But
slapping on the behind.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But gun to my head, I don't know. Like it's not saying that he doesn't deserve it. Like I think you could.
Tyler's mic barely caught up that smack, like a little bit.
Is that a little?
Yeah.
I think best player is a shout for sure for ADCs because your hands at the top level have to be absolutely insane, and I will never. I have a better chance of being a top level jungler or support than I do ADC, and it's not even close. Like me, Henrique Demore, in the next 2 or 3. If I studied the hell out of League of Legends, I trust I think just genetically there's certain things you're just more gifted at.
Genetically exposed.
I think I'm a smart person, a quick learner, and have no ego. So I would much rather give myself a shot at jungle and
my boy's a support
and he's humble.
Wow. And he's humble, he says, as he says all
And
of
I have
that
trash
about
hands.
himself.
Oh, man.
And my mental actually isn't that good. I don't have an ego, but I don't have a great mental.
Oh, mine's terrible too.
Yep.
Yeah. I've played enough ARAM with you.
Oh, dude, I have the like ever since childhood, my temper has been ridiculously short, and of course, the one game I pick up is the most infuriating
It's
one.
the most infuriating.
And not only have I played it, I've done so for 10 years.
And made it your career.
Yeah, just like man, I can't get enough League of Legends. I want more of this garbage.
Okay.
No, it's a good.
Okay, let's go. Let's get into the team. Let's get into the team. So let's start with top
There's a
first.
reason you play it for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Part of me is like, I hate it, but then it's like, well, it's been a big part of my life, and my childhood wouldn't be the same without it, and I do like it.
It would change. It changed my life forever.
Yeah.
I've met people I'll never
I love that.
replace with myself.
Yeah, truly though, like not even a joke.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, it's like it's so easy to make the dog on League of Legends joke, but like,
Oh, yeah.
Everyone does.
of course,
You have to play it to make the joke. You can't,
There it is.
There it is.
Can't be a poser.
There
who
it
goes,
is, you
"Yeah,
cowards."
League. At least play it.
Ew, my God, that's toxic. Play it first.
That's why I respect.
I saw-
That's why I respect Scott a lot. Okay,
Shout out
he
Scott.
went from shitting on League to playing it unironically. Respect.
By himself.
By himself.
Yeah.
By
Yeah,
himself in
this isn't
bot
us,
games.
like, pestering him. This is him, like, posting screenshots of, like, ARAM damage. He's being like, Quinn's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
go
Like, unprompted.
dedicated listener. Please do yourself a favor. Go follow at @CounterScottGo.
Just a
Yes.
real legend of the timeline.
The fact that he actually picked up League of Legends and watches the games with us, even though he's a main Valorant and CS:GO writer, bro.
Yeah.
Props, because now you can talk shit about the game. Like now you have like the experience itself to be like, yeah, it is bad. It is horrible. Whereas
I saw a
other
tweet
people are
last
just
night.
jumping on the bandwagon. Okay, let's go into this. Let's get into this all. Let's get into this team of the half.
I want to hear about the tweet Henrique I saw last night.
I was just chastised by someone for liking League who plays Smite.
Oh, I saw that one too. I saw it too.
Yeah.
He plays.
I have
right.
no issue with Smite. Smite, it's fine. It's whatever.
Is it whatever?
Yeah, it's whatever.
You have no right.
It's exactly that. It's
Oh man,
whatever.
I fired up Smite twice in the last 3 years, and both times I've been absolutely blackout drunk. Like,
Don't even
It's like,
remember
yeah, no,
playing
this is a
the
good idea,
game.
I have no recollection of what god I played, what happened. Like,
Oh my God.
just yeah.
Oh my goodness. Woke
So-
up, mouse in hand, the program, it's still on your screen.
Yeah.
You're just like,
The defeat screen's still there. Just wake up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your whole
Brutal.
team just shit talking you in the comment in the chat.
Oh, what a
Bro, he
game.
fell asleep halfway through the game. All right,
So
top
Odo
laner.
Omne probably.
Odo Omne?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Bar none? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody else that's really stood out like crazy.
In the top lane?
No.
Mm.
I think Wonder and Broken Blade get honorable mentions for me.
Mm.
Odo Omne plays nothing but weak side. Broken Blade plays nothing but carries.
I like Broken Blade as a shout out. Yeah.
I like Broken Blade so much.
I think he's played really well. He's actually,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, lukewarm take of the year incoming. He looks better on G2 than he did on Schalke, but like,
He does. Like, he
Sound the alarm.
Yeah.
Wee-oo,
He looks
wee-oo.
so much better this year on a good team than he did last year on a relatively poor one. I don't know.
Man.
At Michael_Kelly17
That's-
for more of those.
That's the one.
What a take, dude.
Jungle. Jungle gets a little more interesting. I still think I'd give it to Mulrang for now. Again, there's a chance he gets found out, and there's a chance it all goes to pot for Rogue in best of fives, like it has. But
Okay.
I think so far so good. I think he has bucked. He has played the current meta. I think like all the compliments we give to River, I think give Mulrang in spades.
Yeah. This
Especially
guy's
because-
good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I'm gonna bang on Malrank for one thing. Although he is really good, right, and his like stats are respectable, he is one of 3 junglers in the LEC to have a negative gold differential XP differential and CS differential at 10 minutes.
There's a reason for that, though.
Yeah. Like, I'm aware, but I mean, being a good jungler to me includes having a strong early game, like to your game.
I mean, because like
his
Rogue's
strong
early game
getting
is
everybody
strong.
Yes.
Rogue's early game is strong in general because he's willing to sacrifice his own. You get what I mean?
I suppose, wouldn't that show up in the gold and the XP?
Well,
I mean, not as much as if you're just like turbo farming, but like,
yeah. I just think that he's more again, he plays for his side lanes, he plays for his teammates.
I don't really know enough about the numbers to say where like what is or isn't getting secured.
Mm-hmm.
Turret play gold and like.
Well, okay. If we look at the stats,
that being said, to kind of jump back on you, I mean, like Odoamne, Larson, and Comp all lead their respective positions in gold difference of 10.
Yeah,
I imagine part of that is Malrang, so I'll give him credit there for sure.
I mean, Rogue as a team has a 1,707 gold differential at 15 minutes.
That's crazy. That's such a good number. Hello?
Right? They lead the league in
Yeah.
that. They have a 67% first blood rate and a 78% first tower rate.
Yeah.
And they have 100% of their games first to 3 towers. So they've taken that every single time.
Malrang might not stand out, but damn, is he dependable. Like,
yeah,
he is.
So far, so good.
And also, he's not, like, actively hindering the team. He doesn't die that often. So he's always alive and contributing to the map. I don't know. I like him. I like him a lot. I think I'd like to see him do more for the team. Because, I mean, like, he's just not a guy who stands out to me. But I don't think there's anyone better right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I think that's the way they like it.
Yeah.
Right. They've found like the sweet spot right now. I think that right now the only thing that I can think of is whether they can. I mean, it's a Rogue conundrum of can they continue this into the playoffs? That's the biggest thing for them now at this point. It's like they could probably go 18-0 if they wanted to, but it's like, can you adjust in a 5-game series? They've never shown that ability in a while. Like when it counts. Mm-hmm. They're always out in playoffs. They haven't won a championship, even though they've been a top 2 team over the past few seasons now. It's like, can this iteration of Rogue break that mold, or are they just another version of the same curse? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think as the meta changes, I think we'll get part of our answer. Right?
Yeah,
with Malrang. Yeah, but also, look, you don't get picked up by Damwon. I mean, like, yeah, being Canyon's backup is such a brutal shout. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
that dude's never losing his spot.
Yeah,
right. We don't get picked up for no reason. Into the mid lane.
Wait. Before we move on from jungle, just a little shout out to Synkrov on BDS.
He's nice with it.
And Synkrov to me is like one of the only shining stars on that, above from Adam. Like, Adam has been kind of wishy-washy this season. Synkrov's been looking real nice.
24 years old.
Yeah.
Right. Rookie, but 24.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
He's got El Sasso. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's decent. He's a decent jungler. Mid lane. Is there anyone else besides Larson?
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, I don't.
I think there's a shout for VTO and Perks. If you're asking me to do all pro, that's first, second, third team.
Okay.
I
think VTO's good, dude. I think he's next up. I think he's got a big old champion pool. I think he's like, this Misfits team for me is like a little ahead of schedule. I think VTO is like year 2 Ja Morant. He wins most improved player, and I think he's got enough of the sauce to where this is the dude you build around for next year and the year to come. If this year isn't it, fine. Right? And like Mersa has proven to be actually really good. I think Schlatan can only improve. Hirit is good. I think you keep this roster together and run it back next year.
Yeah,
and
VTO's
your boy.
VTO is the kind of guy where like I was complaining about how the only thing that I didn't like about him was his champion pool. But he's actually kind of...
This year, who has Silas games anymore?
You know, like he
He's
is
played Silas,
improved
Turbo Chem
so well.
Kali. Like he can play anything.
Yeah, because I remember before, what was his champion again? The one that he used to just
Zoe, right?
he was,
Was it
Zoe.
Zoe?
It was
Yeah.
a Zoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was known for Zoe, and my biggest like thing about him was, can he play other champions? He can play champions.
Yeah. No, now he can. Like I said,
My
I
boy's
think he
looking
took a
good.
huge leap last year to this year.
Yeah.
I've been really impressed with him.
Looks real good. 80.
I mean, probably comp. Doesn't I mean that's
It's probably
it's my
kind of
pick. Lock it.
upset.
Upset gets a shout.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. I think it's between those two.
Right now it's comp. Dude, he makes Jinx Rockets look point and click. It's insane that one game against was it G2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he was just hitting snipes like it was no one's business. It's like, why does this look like a Caitlyn ulti? What's going on? Like, it was insane how good he was in that game. And not for nothing, he has really great positioning in team fights. He knows exactly where he needs to be. This team just works well as a whole machine. Every single one of them fits into they're all very essential cogs in the machine. Support?
My gut says
I'll throw
Trimby.
a name.
I don't.
I'm saying
I think
Hilly.
I think Hilly won Trimby too.
my gut says Trimby only because they're undefeated, but like I'm not like confident about it. It's
Hilly-
the closest
Hilly-
position for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think Hillsong has. Remember, he's known to, die a lot. My man has only died 24 times, right? That's the fifth least, right?
Which might as well be like you might as well give him the KDA award as far as like
Yeah.
like relative,
My
relative
man
to what
had
he's known for, dude.
99 deaths in the last summer, right?
Yeah.
Last summer he had 99 deaths. He has shored up himself in his play to the point where now we can't even say he's an inter. He's just very aggressive and he knows where. He's not just running it anymore the way that he used to just die randomly or like he would go in and no one's on the same. Like, no, he is really improved in terms of that kind of potential. Like, he's always been really good in terms of engages and mechanics, but like he would run it down sometimes. But I feel like he has really improved on that aspect, which is a big negative about him. And so I think that if there's any role that is not going to get the rogue nod, it's going to be in support. It's going to be Hilly.
As you said, he still kind of has that internal go button. And someone, I forget who said it, but he played like someone said of Hilla saying he still plays Braum like it's Leona.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He still knows like, okay, like I have a wall, sure, but I've also got a big old ulti. I've also got Winter's Bite. Like, I can still do stuff with this, and I'm good enough to like, okay, I go forward. I try to tap him with the Q. If that misses, great. I'm gonna jump back in W.
Yep. I will flash just to get the stun off of you. It's incredible. Were you gonna say something, Mike?
No, I mean I'm in agreement with you. If there's any position where it's a tight race, it's this one. I'm interested to see if Hillsang can keep playing like this because like right now the big question I have in my head is, are we just thinking Hillsang is having a good split because he set the bar pretty low in terms of his aggression like earlier in his career, or is he actually playing to a point where we can call him an all-pro for his team?
I feel
I
like
think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it was unbridled aggression, but like when it worked, it worked.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the batting average was lower, but the slugging percentage was still really, really high.
Hell
To
yes.
use a sports ball metaphor.
Yeah. I think before he kind of looked away from his deaths because for as many deaths that he had, he also had very like game-changing moments because of his willingness to aggress and die for his team. But now that he's removed that part of himself,
Like that's only a good thing.
that's only a good thing. He's only it's only looks good on him. So to me, I think he's the best support in the league right now. Trimmy's there, but again, 9-0 will do that to you.
Yeah.
It will inflate your value and it'll make you look really, really good because your entire team's playing well. But that's just how it is, baby. When you're the best team in the world in your region, in the world,
Dog.
Are Rogue a top 10 team in the world right now?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think
so.
probably.
yeah.
Right now.
It's a regular season thing, yeah. They are a top 10 team. I'm not going to say where because I don't want to get roasted. I don't want to get any angry DMs.
Yeah.
I think
No, I
I think if we use the old theory that like
sixth place in the LEC can go toe to toe with sixth place in the LCK. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, why shouldn't the best team from the LEC be at least in the top 10 in the world? At least.
Yeah.
That being said, are they up there with T1 and Gen G? No shot.
No.
But are they in the discussion to be like on the cusp of the top 10? Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even if you say that they are worse than the top 4 teams in the LCK and LPL, that still gets you in 9th.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the LPL is in a spot right now where like a lot of their teams can be considered best in the world.
And it's just so hard to read because they went through roster Armageddon. And it's going to take so long for like it takes long for teams to settle, but like the entire top side of the league just got absolutely thrown in the blender.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Dude, look at it right now, right? Rogue versus like DRX.
Rogue.
DRX
like,
is a bit of a weird one right
Rogue
now.
in a heartbeat, but yeah, DRX is in a weird spot because
like didn't they like they brought up their challengers and like
they had to because
they
of
did a
COVID.
FlyQuest Academy
For
thing,
what
and
it's
now they're, like,
for what it's
rolling.
worth, they won.
They won.
Right?
Yes.
They beat up on KT, who dude,
who everyone believed in for like a second,
yes,
and then this happened.
and rightfully so. I mean, KT doesn't look like half bad. They're arguably top 3, top 4, and they beat Gen G, which like that'll earn you some stripes. But then you go ahead and lose to DRX challengers plus Deft, who's the only person to be like recovered from COVID. Or
shout out Deft.
Yeah, like, congrats, dude. He just carried the Zoomers to a win over KT, which I guess that works. I don't know.
Do they move the LCK to online?
I
think they
should
should
consider it for at least the time being. Because
you're putting your
they're
players
back
at risk.
Last night, I think they was the first day back.
last
night was T1 Damwon, I think.
Last night was T1 Hanwha.
Hanwha Life.
Which T1 claimed victory in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that if you are getting a bunch of cases like this, it's an online thing for me. I don't think. I think it's better to have the full teams participating with each other rather than having to bring your challengers team up and having to, mix around rosters. But that's just my opinion.
That being said,
how it goes.
if you're sick, it's likely you're not going to play anyway, online or in person. I mean, if you have COVID,
no, in person if you have
if you have
confirmed,
COVID, I wouldn't want to play online at all.
I guess it depends how bad the symptoms
Yeah,
are.
I mean,
yeah.
granted,
like when I got COVID, I was like, okay, it's like I feel poopy for a day, but like,
But no, that's the thing, right? If you have COVID, it doesn't matter, and it's in person, like in the studio, doesn't matter if you feel fine or not. You can't play. They have to get a sub for you because you can't go to the studio. And so I think it's just safer. It's just safer for the integrity of the league, right? Like that. Not just even the
also,
health, which is more important.
And I think that's
what I'm saying.
Stop that. I think they got good vibes going. They got the fans back and stuff.
I know, but that it's to me it's dangerous. It's too much. Because then if more teams get positive cases and then they have to send more of their like challengers team or whatever, then it's just the standings are kind of weird because then like if they lose with their challengers team, then what do you do, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, all right. I think that's enough for today. This has been the Critical Strike Podcast. Thank you all for listening. I've been Henrique. That's been Mike. That's been Tyler. We are available on... Hold on. My brain... I was thinking about 6 different things. Apple, Spotify. Spotify apparently can leave reviews now as well and drop like star ratings and stuff. So please do that.
that's cool.
Yeah. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and Pocket Cast. There we go.
There it is.
Once again, apologies to all the Last FM users out there. You are your prayers are being heard, but they're not being answered. Sorry, folks.
The Angels are busy at the
moment. I don't know what they're doing, but they're not here. I'll tell you that.
They're not scrabbling. That's for fucking sure.
And with that, we will catch you guys next week.